Hello, everyone. My name is George Madiou, and this is the George Madiou Show. So I'm breaking new ground here today. Um, we've had well over 50 guests in the George Madiou Show in the past, and I am so excited about our guests today because they're special in so many ways. But we just had Lisa Wilbur and Jeff West on last week, and it was so engaging that I've asked them both to come back the very next Wednesday. So, welcome, Lisa, and welcome, Jeff. I want to I want to just actually read something that that I ended up actually putting out there um, because of the conversation that we're going to continue with. Um, my friend Lisa and I have been friends literally for years and years and years. Um, and I just ended up giving her and Jeff an endorsement on just a great book. I just wanted to read it to you. What I said was, I've been in direct sales network marketing industry for decades. I am the founder and publisher of the Network Marketing Magazine.com, going on 18 years. I have been responsible for reading thousands, literally thousands of articles written by the best of the best. Lisa Wilbur and Jeff West has given us one of the best gifts in their latest book, said the lady with the blue hair. This is 7 rules for success in direct sales, wrapped into a wonderful lesson for life to those of us in this great profession who are looking to be guided to financial success. This is a wonderfully engaging story that all of us will embrace. It has lessons that we can put into action in our own business right away. You will get a glimpse of this extremely successful leader in our industry. You will see how this author has become a legend in one of the most successful leaders that I know. Make sure that you not only get a copy of this future bestseller, but also encourage your entire team to embrace this wonderful book for themselves as one of those great roadmaps for their success. Well done, Lisa and Jeff. So I'm really excited about that endorsement that I was proud to give the two of you. Um, one of the one of the great things about knowing Lisa for as long as I have is I've watched um, this person, I mean, lead the charge in an ethical and an engaging way to grow her teams that I have rarely seen in a person. It's uh, it's my privilege to know her, and I also say that there's I'm kind of envious of Jeff teaming up with her, and you've made the great move, Jeff. I I I'm very happy for you.
But
So
can I tell you this was all Jeff, really. I just randomly mentioned something on a call we were on Jeff spotted this would be a good book title. Jeff's the one that took a year to convince me. So and he is the writer, to tell you the truth. We collaborated and I helped with some ideas, but Jeff is the writer here. I have never written anything like a real story. I've written books that were just my story or something, but Jeff really knows how to write parables. I don't. And I am so happy that he called me. And you don't tell everybody, but he called me first. And I
Yeah.
and I'm just happy. I'm happy with myself that I said yes. That
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Well,
So,
it
so
was
Jeff, I want to hear your side of the story. You obviously, I know that the both of you belong to just a phenomenal group, and this group is not all network marketers. As a matter of fact, there might be just one weird network marketer in the whole bunch, you know. But you actually saw something. So tell us the story behind that.
Well, I have been blessed at multiple times in my life, making really good choices about people I want to be around. And not every time, but most of the time it's worked out well. And as I got to know Lisa over the last year and a half, 2 years now that we've known each other, our backgrounds are similar in a lot of ways. And there's just a personality that draws people toward her. And we were on the Zoom call together when she had blue hair, and then she was the only one, and she was kind of explaining herself. And I just put in the chat box on the sides. I said the lady, because she had told the story about how she did the blue hair and how she was less judgmental, and she would look in the mirror and said the lady with the blue hair, to kind of calm herself down. And I told her, I said, Lisa, that would be a great book title. And my background, I've got 30 years in sales and sales leadership too. I was all that. And I've done, my first book was a parable. It's called The Unexpected Tour Guide. But I've also done, the basic cut and dried kind of sales material. But my heart is in telling stories and writing parables. And Lisa was the absolute best possible first choice I could make. I've got good friends, John David Mann and Bob Berg, and that's kind of the partnership that they've had. And yeah, they both have sales background, but John's the storyteller, and they took Bob's endless referrals and turned that into the Go Giver series. So I knew this could be special, and I will tell you, she gives me the credit for the writing, and I'm appreciative of that. But I tell her all the time, I'm George, you're Gracie. I'm your straight man, all right? So there's some sales training really from both of us. When it gets into the rules, it's all Lisa. But the story and the other things that we work in her sales training are really both of us. And she has just got the personality that can draw anybody toward her. That's why she has, gosh, I forget how many thousands of people that follow her either on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn. And it's just, I just knew she had a personality that I wanted to work with, and our stories as we got to know each other, everything from living in a mobile home, in my case, where the floor was falling out, to then going on and becoming very successful in what I did in the insurance industry. It's just commonality, and plus she hangs around with good people like you. And thank you so much, George. When I read your endorsement, it touched my heart in ways you'll never know. So thank you so much for that as well.
Well, you're quite welcome. So I want to hear the flip side. So what in the world is this blue hair about, Lisa?
Oh, okay. I don't know. My kid's calling it one of my many multiple midlife crises, which now that I'm going to be turning 60, I prefer to have it midlife. I keep calling it midlife here. Right. But I always wanted to have some shocking color hair at least once in my life. And my favorite color happens to be blue. So I was going to do it just to have it off my list. I did it. I don't want to regret not doing stuff. So I planned on doing the blue hair. And then at that time, I did a fundraiser for autism awareness, so it wouldn't make me look so crazy, I guess. I went around and said, I'm going to dye my hair blue if we raise a certain amount of money. And then I did it. But in reality, I was going to do it before that because I wanted blue hair once in my life. On the call, what happened was in the Go Giver Success Alliance, you're right. I'm almost the only network marketer. I think I probably am on our regular call full-time. I'm the only full-time one. So the other people are like engineers and lawyers, and it's a little bit intimidating. So I'm sitting there with blue hair and I want to be taken seriously. So I thought I better say something about this blue hair. So what I said was, if you want to be less judgmental, dye your hair blue. This is working out so good for me. You know, I go down to the grocery store, I see some lady in a tight skirt, and I'm thinking, man, that lady's got a tight skirt, said the lady with the blue hair. So, and Jeff, when he heard that, he wrote in the comments, you need to write a book with that title. And that's literally how we got this started, is his comment there, and then us later talking about it a bunch of times. It wasn't immediate though. I originally was like, oh, do I really want to be known with the lady with the blue hair? But I think because sometimes there used to be a thing, old ladies had blue hair, and that is not the look I'm going for. I'm going for young, shocking blue, you know. So it took me a while to wrap my head around it, but and then Bob Berg, of course, had Jeff on as in his Legends show. So when he was first telling me about he works with authors and stuff, I thought to myself, I wonder what it would take for him to work with me. But I didn't say anything to him. I didn't ask him. I should have private messaged him and said, what does it take to work with you? But I didn't. And luckily he asked me, because I could have still been sitting here wondering what it would take to work with him instead of being in this awesome experience right now with this book.
Yeah, and one of the things that you revealed to me just before we started was the fact that you absolutely wanted to be all in with this book, and the book is going to be launched in a few weeks, and you also reveal the fact that you have now. Correct me if I'm wrong. You've convinced Jeff to dye his hair blue. Is that true?
Well, Jeff has a special announcement that he'll share.
George, we're going to make this announcement on your show here today. The Kindle version, the ebook version of the book, it was originally scheduled to be on pre-order November 1. We're making it available on pre-order immediately. And instead of waiting till December 1 to release the actual book, the actual book on e-reader is going to be released this Sunday, October the 16th. And so we're making that announcement for your audience here. Yeah. And what I'm going to try to do also is if I can get Amazon to help me make it work, anyone who does the e-reader and goes ahead and starts at that point, I'm going to give them a free copy of my first parable, The Unexpected Tour Guide. So,
wow,
but the back to the blue hair, we Lisa and I have been talking, and we're going to set a target. And if we hit the target on the e-reader, the version that goes out, the other version is still going to be later. The paperback and the hardback, it's ready, but it takes Amazon a little longer with those. But if we hit the target, yes, I am going to dye my hair blue December 1. So we'll set that target, but I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to be going, I can't believe I did that.
He's emotionally preparing himself.
There you go. There you go. That's awesome. So give us just a little snapshot of the book, of the story, of the parable.
Lisa, you want me to do that, or you want to take it?
Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. The parable is the story of an unexpectedly single mother. Her name's Kai Frazier, and she's facing some life choices she never thought she'd have to make. And we've kept the reasons behind that a little bit from the public. They'll get it when they read the book, but it's a very unexpected and heart-wrenching, maybe that's not right. It'll touch you though. But and she's raising her 10-year-old girl who's full of, as my mother used to say about me, a little bit full of spit and vinegar. But she got a good sense of humor and a little bit hard to handle sometimes. But as they're on the annual vacation that the family always took to Kauai, and they're sitting on Poipu Beach. And while they're there, Kai happens to notice this unusual lady with blue hair. I've met one, all right? So, and the story as it develops, they end up meeting, the friendship develops there. And the lady with the blue hair is one of the most successful business people in direct marketing history. She has over 5,000 people in her team. I don't know where I came up with that idea, but but extremely successful. And the friendship builds, and she decides to mentor Kai. And our mentor's name is Belle. But the story that develops over the course of the next year is a combination of a mother and daughter healing and a mentor making a difference in someone else's life that she didn't have to do. And a success story because we're not going to write anything where they don't succeed, and some very solid teaching that's directly from my co-author Lisa Wilbur on the rules that are so awesome. And we watch the story develop, and I tell everybody there's some romantic tension, there's some surprises, you'll laugh, you'll cry, and at the end you'll get a couple of surprises that you probably didn't expect, which that's always my favorite part of writing anyway. So it's been one of the most affirming processes, I guess, because people like you, George, that have just told us some heartfelt things, both in public and behind the scenes. And I think we've had 30-something people ranging from television personalities all the way to just people that are just like us, have built teams and sales teams. And I will tell you, it's Lisa and I were talking earlier this morning and about different things. And I said, the thing that means the most to me, it's, as a writer, is having someone read what you wrote and say, "Oh, I like that." And hopefully it'll be a thing. I think this is going to be one of those moments where something catches on and it goes on for a very long time. But even if it didn't, I will tell you that my heart is so full, I don't know what to do. And that's just the best way to say it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, can you give us, Lisa, a glimpse of your rules?
Well, do you mind if we see what Peg wanted to say?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Peg.
Just wanted to know when Jeff's going to set the milestone for what it's going to take for him to have blue hair, because I know the
I told him
blue
it should be
team,
2.
the team blue launch. What'd you say, Lisa?
I told him it should be 2, just 2.
Well,
Sell
I've
2
already
and go
pre-ordered.
blue.
Did anybody else pre-order? I think we're there. We have over 1,000 on the Team Blue launch Facebook page. If everybody buys one, you'll be at $1,000 and then some. And then there's Christmas presents people are going to give to people on their teams and all that. So I can't wait to hear what the goal is, because I know we're going to help you reach it and surpass it by many.
We will probably make that announcement Thursday night, I guess. Well, I've got to get used to the idea.
Okay.
And like I said, Peg, the thing is that knowing Lisa personally and knowing this project, right? This is not a book for you and I.
Yeah.
This is a book for you and I and all of the people that are associated with us that have a desire to succeed and succeed in a big way. Unfortunately, in network marketing, we've got a great majority. In an analysis that we've done, 70% of the people that join network marketing think they bought themselves a network marketing lottery ticket. Well, it's not. And you can ask Lisa, did you win the lottery? No, she worked at it. She learned. She learned from the best of the best. And those people, we call them 27%, because 3%, is the whole 100%, are big money earners, right? So there's 27% that are hungry. They are starved to find out, what do I need to know and apply and do to become financially successful? And like Lisa Wilbur. Well, let me give you a clue. Lisa Wilbur did not start off week 1 in Avon financially successful. It took her a month or two. Right? But the thing
Longer than
is that the thing is that this book is, like I said, not for just us. It's for those 27 percenters in your organization, and that that aren't in your organization. That is a roadmap in a really cool story. All right, to be able to put a person on a pathway to financial success. So give me some rules.
Okay. The rules, it's funny because in my regular life, I kind of talk about the rules as if I didn't make them up, right? I just taught, on my team, my Avon team, actually, we blurt out the rule when we see somebody either breaking it or making it. We call them by the name that we call them in the book, actually, and we've done that all along. I'll give you an example. One of my favorites, and I name them names that you can understand what it means from the name of the rule usually. So for example, the wood stove rule. And I see a lot of people thinking, matter of fact, Avon representatives will buy the kit, and then they'll say things to me like, I'm not going to purchase brochures until I'm making more money first. And that's where the wood stove rule comes in, because that's like saying, I'm not going to put any wood in you until you give me heat first. And it doesn't work that way. And that was how I could get representatives to understand. I say, you have to put something in before you get something out. It doesn't work any other way, just like with a wood stove. So most of the rules, matter of fact, all the rules, they have some in the title of the rule. It has what it is in it, so it's easy to remember and usually can relate to something that they know, like a wood stove. But that's one of my favorites. My other one that I haven't talked on in any of the shows we've been doing so far is the success rule. That's actually the one I say the most. And I heard this somewhere. I wish I knew where I originally saw it, but the success rule is you can be successful at anything if enough people know what you do. And it's what I've built my business on, and it's what I build. Like when I did community theater earlier this year, I was in charge of promoting it. I built that on that. Everything I've done for projects like the book project, I know we can be successful with this book project if enough people know about it. And it's always rung true. And I think it's funny that people don't intuitively know some of these, like that one, because like even my mom, she was a longtime Avon representative on my team. I was in 10 years longer than her, by the way. Everybody thinks it's the other way, but we had a little store in our house. And when she wanted to get more people to buy from her, her theory was lower the prices in the store. And I said, but Mom, if more people aren't coming through the door because they know what we do, they won't know about the price. That it won't make, you can mark everything to 1 penny, but without more people coming in, we're not going to make more sales. Enough people have to know about us for them to come in. And I'm surprised how many people think like she did, that, and they immediately start lowering their price or offering a deal or offering a discount, when all they really need to do is let more people know what they do. You don't have to try to sell on price, because there's a lot of people who want to buy from you if they only knew about you. So that's where the rules come in, and stuff that I've run across all these years. And I tried to word them so they're memorable enough that they're easy to say and easy to remember.
That's great. I want one more rule.
One more. I want to tell Jeff's favorite, but yeah, do you want to tell your favorite, or you don't want you want to save that one?
Well, I've got two favorites. There's one that is called the naughty rule, and I'll let Lisa explain it. But when she explained it to me and told me some of the things that she had done in her life, I just started, literally cackling. It was so funny to me. So I'll let you do it.
Okay, the naughty rule is if you're not getting in trouble once in a while, you're just not trying hard enough. So, and that came about because I was getting in trouble, but I didn't understand why I was getting in trouble, I guess. So the example I remember at first, and Em will get this, in Avon Corporate's a big company. They're a big corporation. I looked through the rules and stuff, but I saw somebody, actually the first time it happened was there was an oil truck across the street at the trailer park that had the words for the oil truck on it. And I saw that and I went, hey, I could put the word Avon and my phone number on my car. So I did that. And the Avon employee came to my house and said, you can't do that. And I said, where did you see that? I didn't see in the rules that you couldn't do that. And she said, the other Avon representatives are getting mad about it. And I said, tell them they can do it too. You know what I mean? Because if it's not in the rules, I don't think that you can say I can't do it. And it's funny because that very thing that I did, putting a sign on my car, I think it was 10 years later. I've done it the whole time since then. 10 years later, we were at the 125th anniversary of Avon at Madison Square Garden, and I'd been on the front of a magazine with my car wrapped with an Avon thing, and they showed the magazine on the screen. And if I had just said, oh, I can't do it, and just took her word for it, but instead I said, you know, I was naughty.
Yeah.
And right. And I said, gee, I'm sorry, but you know, unless you can show it to me in writing, I'm leaving it. So I've repeatedly gotten in trouble, repeatedly got my hand slapped. But lots of times it does work out as long, and I make sure that I'm not damaging anything. Like I always put independent representative on my car so that I don't get confused with being in the corporate car. I always look out to make sure the car is in good shape and all those things. But I do it knowing that if more people know what I do, we all going to benefit from that. So I do get naughty once in a while, but so you want one other example of the
I
naughty?
sure do. I
Yeah,
sure do.
I knew you'd like the naughty one. Okay, so when I want to hand out brochures, Avon brochures at, like, say the front of a grocery store or something, I don't ask. What I do is I go up with my box on a little wheelie and I just start handing out brochures. And sure enough, usually what happens is about half hour in or so, and I'm about, what, 50 books in, half hour, somebody from the inside the store will come out and they'll say, did you ask to be out here? And I'll say, you know, I talked to, and they'll always say, was it Susan? And I'll be like, yes, I think it was Susan. And they'll say, I'm going to go get Susan. Good, go get Susan. And I keep going. I keep handing stuff out. And then Susan will come out and she'll say, you know what? I don't remember talking to you. And I said, you know, now that I've seen you, I don't remember you either. It must not have been you. And Susan will say, you know, Debbie's on vacation. Said, must have been Debbie then. And then sometimes they'll say, well, just keep going. And sometimes they'll say, you need to move along now. But by then I'm 100 books out. I'm 100 books into this thing. So, you know, I kind of sometimes get thrown out, but if I had gone in there and said, do you mind if I hand out Avon brochures out front? They'd have probably said no. So to me, it's worth doing stuff and getting in trouble and apologizing after the fact more than it is to keep asking permission and getting turned down. So, you know, if you're not getting in trouble once in a while, you need to try harder. That's the whole thing.
There
Be
you
a
go.
little naughty.
Well, the
Be
way
a
we
little-
handled it too in the story, you know, I know in network marketing and in direct sales, and I know with insurance, I was with the insurance company Aflac for 20 something years, and I was in field sales management. Everybody was an independent agent, including me, even as a state manager. But you wanted them to follow what you were teaching, you know. So as we did this in the story, we were honorable about the idea that we all know that whatever you're doing, you want people to follow the system, kind of like a franchise, and make that work. But it doesn't mean there's not room for creativity. And I think we handled that really well in the course of the story. But one of the things that I love about your rules, Lisa, and I think it's so great, regardless of the industry, whether it's direct marketing, network marketing or direct sales, or even in the insurance industry. If we had already written this book while I was the state manager with Aflac, every single possible recruit that was interviewing with us, we would have given them a copy of that book, because it sets things in their minds that you want to recruit to know as they come on board. Like, and the way that you handle with your people, and the way we handled in the story about making the decision and what it is and what it's not. And it's not some get rich quick kind of thing. You really do have to work. But if you work and treat it like a business, you're going to be successful. Those are the lessons I wanted every recruit with Aflac to know. And so this book's got so much of a wide ranging way to help people. It's a tremendous compliment to you, Lisa, because this is a whole lot of the magic that you weaved for a long time. And I'm just really excited to see what happens with it.
You know, George, if you don't mind, what I like about Jeff's handling of the situation in the book too is that Bell doesn't go on some big thing about trying to recruit Kai into Bell's direct sales company. And I, in real life, don't do that either. She's trying to get her to choose what's right for her. And I know that's hard to do when you're a network marketing or a direct salesperson building a team. You try to get them to buy your stuff or get them to recruit under your team because of what you need. And in reality, it actually works better if you think of the other person first. So even with products, if I know a product that's better than something I have, I will show them the other product from another company that's a competitor, because then they trust my judgment more. And with a sales opportunity, if they're going to join as a representative, I don't want them to be with me if it's not a good fit for them, because they won't stay anyway. So you really have to put the other person first. But in the long run, it always has worked out in my benefit, whether it's by products or team members, because that person feels like I put them first, and I'll get all kinds of referrals. So it may not be the person in front of me that signs up, but that person, if they weren't a good fit, they weren't going to stay anyway. But it may be a friend of theirs that signs up and is a good fit. So I love how Jeff did it, where Kai doesn't end up in Bell's downline. Actually, Bell just helps her figure out which company to go with.
That's the reason why when I did the endorsement, I saw what you both have created literally as a roadmap, not for Avon,
Right.
a roadmap for anything, and certainly any direct sales and network marketing company. But it could absolutely be a roadmap for Aflac, right? And so what you have is you teach the truth, right? And the truth isn't gimme, gimme, gimme. It's really shining a light on others and solving situations that you're aware of that can guide somebody. You're a guide, and that's awesome. To become a guide in somebody else's life is just absolutely terrific, and you are just the epitome of just a super guide. So
Well, you know, I don't think it's a selfless move either. It's a good business move too, because
absolutely.
when you always take what's best for them into consideration and work with the other person, they send business your way. So I don't think it's like just being a good person. I think it's a good business decision too. You know, it can be both. I think it doesn't have to be one or the other.
What a concept.
Right.
I mean, it's incredible. And the thing is that one of the qualities that I've noticed about you over the years is you are consistent. I mean, you don't change. you get better, right?
Oh,
And you're consistently getting better personally and sharing that with anybody. It doesn't matter whether or not they're in Avon. Obviously, it does matter. It's good, but anybody that has the privilege of knowing you or hearing you ends up having the advantage of being guided by you. And
well, thank you.
I was at an event that you spoke at with the DSWA that I got an opportunity to babysit your child. All right. When your babysitter
Oh.
quit.
Oh, that was funny because I was not that nervous because I've been around most of the people, but I didn't know that Zig Ziglar could hear my presentation. I'm not sure I because he's such a hero of mine, that would have been hard. And I knew you guys were watching the kids, so so that was a little nerve-wracking, but I think I only had what 20 minutes that day, so I made it. So
Yeah, that was awesome. Does anyone else have a question, or I'm going to keep on going? Dwayne, I can't believe that you don't have a question. Go ahead, darling.
Oh, I was just laughing at your statement about the rain.
Okay, so one of the things that, well, the question that I have is wraps around a unique way of selling your book.
Oh,
You put
yeah.
together a team, and just like Peg said, or I think Peg said, maybe you said, 1,000 people are on the team already, telling people about this great book. What a concept, and so tell me more about that, because I know that's how you do your business.
Well, and that's why I thought of it is, I think Jeff and a couple of our other colleagues were thinking more. Now you can correct me, Mr. West, but I think they were thinking more like a few influencers and we do it that way. And my pitch was, I know we don't like to use the word pitch, but my pitch was, let's build an army and let's start early, because everything I've ever done relied on a whole bunch of people getting together and doing it together. And it takes me a while to put the army together. So I actually didn't ask permission, shockingly, and just opened the Facebook group up and started getting people to go in. And we got those 1,000 in there in a month. And to me, then I didn't realize everyone was already doing the census thing. I thought that was some original material over here. And I found out yesterday that is not, it's Jeffrey Gitomer's stuff, and I had no idea. I'm wondering how I function in the world not knowing that. But I was thinking to myself, for all these people to stay engaged for a length of time until we actually launch, we need to have everybody being interactive. And how are we going to do that? So the things in my toolkit are like doing a word search, doing a color page together, doing a poll, posting recipes about the location of the book. And the wristband is actually all of these things I've done in other projects, but the wristband I did when 4 of us within Avon, we called ourselves the Formidable Four. And all 4 of us are bronze executives at the top of the pay plan. None of us are in each other's downline. And we were just doing things together as colleagues. And we had wristbands made to give out at the Avon convention for a meet and greet. And people loved them. And even years later, I'll still run across people that said they have all 4 of them on, because each one of us had our own. It was like a collecting thing. And people even now show me they've got them on. So I knew it was a neat thing that you feel like you're part of the group. So that was one thing I wanted to do right away. I actually ordered them without telling Jeff. Right. Because you know what, I didn't want to explain. I guess I wanted to show him that it would work before I had to explain it, because I thought if some people get him and they're excited, he won't have an objection.
I wouldn't have had an objection anyway. You know, it's funny. I have watched Lisa live out the rules that we narrowed down from her list of things she teaches people that we put in the book. She lives them out. These aren't something that she's, oh, these will be good ideas. Let's put these in the book. That's not what happened. These are rules that she lives out. And in the, I get tickled when she talks about she didn't ask permission. She just built the group. Number one, you didn't need my permission. You don't work for me. I don't work for you. We're partners, and we're really good at that. And number two, you were kind of combining the naughty rule. Okay, if I get in trouble, I get in trouble. I don't care. And then, but it's also the success rule. The whole idea of the Facebook group is you can be successful at anything if enough people know what you're doing. And you immediately went into mode with that. And to get 1,000 people the first month, I think we're pretty close to 1,200 now.
Yeah.
The whole process of watching you do that, I would have been I'm not going to say the word I was about to say. I would have been not very intelligent if I had gotten in your way at all.
Well, and George, you're going to like this, I think, but all this time I had somehow convinced myself that Jeff chose me to be a partner in the book because he knew about my marketing prowess. And so the whole time that he was writing and we were working together, I'm making all of these plans on how to market because I thought, I'm up next. He's shown his skill and his best thing that he does. Now it's my turn. And I didn't know, he had no idea that I did anything like that. So he admitted it later.
I knew two things about you. I knew I related well with you in the Go Givers group that we're part of. We've been on weekly calls together now for well over a year. I knew I related to you. I had a lot of respect for your thoughts. The things that you would say were very ear catching to me. And so I knew that. So I knew there was some potential there. When I was visiting with John David Mann and Bob, they said, they were talking about you want to make sure that you pick someone who has an audience, and you certainly have that. I didn't know the extent of that. And I had no clue about how skillful you are at what you do. I was just blessed. Again, the good Lord put me in the right spot at the right time about that, because that partnership that we reached out together on that's just been pretty incredible. And I think my favorite thing that we do in the group, George, we're doing every Thursday night at 7 Eastern time, 6 Central time. We're doing 30 minutes. It's just Lisa and I getting there and playing with our group. And we're doing some fun things at first. Then I'm interviewing Lisa about one of the rules. And then we talk about a couple of suggestions if they want to help promote the book and get the message out there, some things like that. So I think that's my favorite part of what we're doing. But Lisa, I've watched what you do in the magic that you have brought to the table. We have friends who are authors, some that'll be obviously in this group here, that we can help them now with that, because what you've done here is different. Because like one of my favorite books that I've read in the last several years has been The Go-Giver Marriage by John David Mann and Anna Gabriel Mann. It's the best book on relationships, in my opinion, since the 5 love languages. And they had a launch thing that they did and all that. And I think now, wow, if we had added this to what they were doing and developed that, it was already a great book, and I'm sure it already did great. But it becomes a cause because people love you and love what's going on. And so as you can develop that inside your contacts, and it's because you've always been focused on the other people and providing the value, yet people are naturally attracted to that, and they love that personality. I think they really enjoy how you and I banter back and forth. And so it's a good partnership there. But there's so much magic that came together in this. It's just really amazing to me.
I
That's
think we're capitalizing on all the inside joke things. We were just talking, we're doing a Zazzle shop with the book front on it where you can get shirts and t-shirts and stuff. And I'm trying to sell him on the idea of some of these little inside jokes that we say to each other on the lives. The other guys are getting the joke and passing it on too. So one time he was just telling a story where he said the word braggadocious and I just thought it was so funny that I went in the group and I said, let's have that be our word of the week. So now we're just throwing around braggadocious like it's fun. And I'm thinking we should have a t-shirt that says braggadocious. But I think it's little, and I call them hidden Mickeys, but it's little secret inside jokes that only the group knows, but the group's big, but it's still a hidden Mickey because you feel like you're part of the group because you're in on the joke. And I like it when we do stuff like that. And I want to find more of it because to me, it makes people feel part of it when they're part of the joke. And I relate it to like when Garth Brooks does a concert and he has those 2 songs that have extra verses that only his followers know about. And when they're at the thing, they're the ones that sing those verses. If you're not familiar with Garth Brooks, you don't know about the verses. So you feel like you're part of the thing because of the verses. And it's it's like the hidden Mickey thing at Disney World. You see it in all the little things, but you only see it if you knew about it because you're in on it. So that's what we're trying to do.
I keep telling her I grew up in the 70s and the 80s, and a hidden Mickey back then was something that you weren't allowed to talk about because that had to do with somebody putting something in somebody's drink. So, but it's funny. Dwayne asked a question, and I can't multitask worth anything. But if you want to be part of that Thursday night thing, just join our Facebook launch group. It's called Team Blue, and if we haven't already sent you an invitation, click on there, and we'll approve it in a heartbeat. That way, you'll get all the communications, and you'll get in that group. But one of my favorite things about this book too, when you said hidden Mickey, it reminded me of this. Lisa's kid did the cover design for the book, and he is just incredible. And the composition ideas he had in the mix of that, including putting Polaroids basically, because it centers around the beginning and the ending center around a Hawaii trip. And I kind of gave some guidance about how I wanted the cover as far as the picture of Belle from behind on the beach and all that. But his composition was excellent. And on the things that we've done to make coffee mugs available for people and got hoodies and stuff. Lisa and I really don't make anything much on that. I think we make $1 or something like that. But I made sure Lisa and my name don't appear on there, but Alex's appears on there. We put her kid's name on there because I wanted that, and Lisa loves that too. And so it's
Alex was thrilled when I showed him last night. He says, "Do you mean that everybody who looks at that shirt or something is going to see my name?" I said, "Absolutely." I said, "This is going to be." Yeah, he did. I've been trying to tell him how big this whole project was when he was doing it, because he had a big learning curve to learn how to do this because he's only 17. So he's used to, here's my art, love it or leave it. And when you have to have a customer, like he and I are customers, I said he had to make tweaks and do things that we wanted him to change. And he also had to talk to 2 adults that are in business and listen to what we were saying and why we wanted the different changes, and he had to make them. And I thought he did really well. I was just a little afraid that he would say, "Hey, that's my art, love it or leave it," because he's that kind of guy. But he did really well. So this has been a good learning experience. But I think he did an excellent job. I mean, the cover is really good.
Yeah, and what do you know, Ma?
I know. Well, that's what Alex says too. He's like, "Are you saying that from someone who wrote a book, or are you saying that because you're my mom?"
So I listen to a lot of books when I'm exercising. Are you going to have this in Audible?
We are. I'm going into the studio. Thought originally I would do it this week. I'm going into the studio next week. Lisa's going to record part of it too. We're going to do it as the authors, and
That's awesome. Yeah.
I'm going to basically be the storyteller narrator, and she's going to handle all the parts with dialogue. And she's a little nervous about it, but her voice is great. She's going to do really well at this. And yes, that's definitely in the works, and hopefully by the December 1 release date.
So Peg, you tell me, Mr. West there doesn't believe he's got the sexy voice. He's got I just like to make him blush. It's that southern deep voice. And I said, oh, we've got to do this together. I just can't do it alone because of his voice is so good. Yeah. See,
Yeah, the
she
fact
could
that
try.
you're both going to do it together makes me smile because that's how John David Mann and Bob Berg do it. They alternate chapters, but knowing that Jeff's going to tell the story and you're going to give the, sort of the why and wherefore behind it, that's just going to be brilliant. And how exciting is it that that'll be ready by December 1? Woo!
That's the goal. Let me qualify
Yeah.
that.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
But you'll
that's-
have blue hair. You'll have blue hair by then, Jeff.
It's true. I'll be spending a lot of time in the editing room. I'm going into a studio to do the recording, but then I'll actually do the editing behind the scenes. And I've done other editing, so it's not a huge leap, but it is a big project.
Well, it's going to be so well worth it, and you're making me smile. And I know George will be listening to it, and it'll be good. I can't wait.
So,
Yeah, and matter of fact, Jeff didn't say about the 20 or so Hawaiian words he threw in the book that I'm gonna have to learn how to say. Right, yeah, thank you.
so my friend Dwayne is, his life has revolved around publishing and everything else. Give me your input on what these two characters have in store for all of us.
Oh, I would love to. Thank you. And that's why I raised my hand after you'd asked me that, because that would have been the question I would have asked them. And look at how much knowledge we all gained by you asking that question, George. I want to encourage on you can go from that audio book to a talk show of your own. Because if you bounce off of each other, when you guys are together on Zoom, there is an energy there that's really good. And you bring it out of each other. And so you make both a mutual talk show host kind of a situation. You could have a podcast with that and increase your army, Lisa and Jeff. And I haven't done that yet myself, but I'm a book writer. And so I'm just really tuned in to what Jeff is saying and what Lisa is saying. That's my comment.
Thank you very much.
So what would you like to leave us with? First of all, you, Jeff.
I would like to leave your audience with the idea that regardless of where you are, what you're doing, this story itself is going to be strong enough that you're even going to want people that aren't in sales to read the story. And if you are in any kind of independent sales type of scenario where whether it's direct sales or like independent insurance agent sales, like what I was in, or network marketing, pretty much anything where you're responsible for your own growth and you're responsible for your own activity rather than to leave it up to some company to do that for you. This is going to be a valuable moment for you, I hope. I can tell it feels special to me, and that's partly because of we call each other partners in crime. I'll say my co-author, my cohort, because of that friendship that's developed. But it's also about just the specialness of the story. And I know I penned it, but I always feel like things happen for the right reason at the right time, and it's not always in my control, but I just feel so blessed because it's the right moment in time.
Well, one of the interesting things that you say is, it's a story perfect for anybody in sales, but I feel as though almost everybody's in sales. And I mean, my question is to my very good friend M, who's a great salesperson, but as far as being a wonderful mother, we all as parents are in sales. And so your story is applicable to the traditional salesperson, but so many of us don't even realize that our lives really revolve around selling, whether or not it's an idea or whatever, you know. And it starts with us being new parents. It's funny. My two children have been around sales since they're born, right? And both of my children ended up having brand new babies the same day on June 1st this year, right? And my daughter knows as a mother, because she has a son, that there's a lot of selling to go on as far as that. My son and daughter-in-law is finding out that there's some sales going on, that when little Jack is letting loose, you know, they know they have to snap to it and get to whatever it is that little Jack, only months so old, is selling to them, you know. So so I'm going to ask you the same thing, Lisa. What do you want to leave us with?
Well, I should be leaving you with a, like, go get the book thing, but what I want to say is, try to say yes to more stuff. I mean, if anything that's happened to me lately is proven, is that the more times I say yes to stuff, the bigger my life is, the richer, the fuller, and that's what I want, is a big, giant, juicy life. You know, that's what I want. And to say yes to more stuff, even if it's uncomfortable. I mean, I didn't necessarily like sharing my story that much, and it was uncomfortable to talk to Jeff a little bit about some of the stuff, because I'm not necessarily that proud of the fact that I was in the trailer park and it was my fault. And some of that stuff's kind of embarrassing, but I'm so glad. And I don't think he realizes what a gift he gave to me personally, writing the story. I mean, it's right. I don't, but I mean, it's such a nice feeling to have that somebody put your story in a book and it be valuable to other people. So it's just so great to have that. But what if I hadn't said yes? So say yes to more things, more experiences, more projects. You know, just say yes more.
If you hadn't said yes, there's going to be thousands of people that would have been cheated out of that poor decision.
Thank you.
So I want to thank everybody that's been on. You have just experienced what has given me enormous delight over the years with being a friend of Lisa's. So I want to thank you for being on today. I want to thank you, Jeff, and you, Lisa. You're both awesome. And we'll see you next Wednesday on the George Madiou Show.
Thank
Thanks
you
so
for
much,
having
everyone.
us.